Hey, what's up everybody? Unrested back again. Taking a little walk home from a client meeting. Enjoying a nice slow walk today. I don't need to really rush too much. Gonna head out to the hospital after this and go see my wife and my newborn son. Both of which are doing fine. Thank you, Victor, for the big congratulatory video, and everyone else who said congratulations. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Both of them are doing fine. My son, his name is Max Jin. Max Jin Ackerman was born. Max is the first name, Jin is the middle name, that's a Japanese name. And he was born on 9/10, don't even know my own son's birth, that's bad. 9/10/12, and at 4:30 p.m. and weighing 2.8 kilograms at 19 inches. So, very healthy boy. Doctor said everything went perfect. Everything's great. I am glad I can finally take a big sigh of relief. Now, let's get back into a video, because now that I know my wife is okay and my baby's okay, I can relax a little bit more and try to make these videos a little more often again. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about today is go ahead and talk about drama at the workplace. Now I'm back into dealing with the workplace. I just feel like, you know, with my life now, it's either family or work. I'm not really a go out and have a fun type of time guy, although my job is pretty fun now that I do what I want. But I'm going to cover some stuff that you're going to deal with as far as drama at the workplace. And I feel this is important because some of it is justified, but hard for us to understand as gaijin. But some of it is unjustified and just something you're going to have to get used to no matter what. So it's a give and take situation. It's a plus and minus. It's a pro and con. Some of the first things you're going to have to deal with, or the fact that the way that Japanese do some stuff that you would expect to be done a certain way in your own country might not always follow suit the same way here. And that can be into many, many different aspects. One of the ones that you'll find the most quickly is probably meetings, or like I have now client meetings. You may have meetings at your own schoolwork stuff that you go to, and those are going to be way different. And it's just something you got to kind of put up with. I can't really give you any way to finagle your way out of going to these meetings. If they're required by either the company you work for, the kaisha you work for, the school you work for, please go to them. Don't try to make excuses, even if you feel they accomplish zero, because many times you're going to find that they do. And this is something actually Tikio Sam and I have talked about how you go to these meetings and people go off on tangents that just have absolutely nothing with getting work done. And it's almost like you're like, are we just having a meeting so that we can say we had a meeting today? And you know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. There's some places that just require meetings. They just say every Wednesday is meeting day. I know a lot of the schools I worked at, they had to have a meeting every Wednesday no matter what. Like there wasn't, you know, even if zero had happened at the school for over a month, they had to have a meeting. There was just no question. So you too, if you're required to go to those, will have to go to these meetings. And you're sometimes going to hear the most biggest bunch of crap. I gotta run across the street, hold on. The most biggest bunch of crap you've ever heard. You're going to hear about people's trip to Disneyland and Tokyo, maybe how they got to see Gegege no Kitaro World, like stuff you really just don't give a crap about that doesn't help anything. But there's nothing you can really do about that. Like I said, if you're required to go to the meeting, go to it and just show up, even if you're just a body there. You may even see people there who are typing on their cell phones, totally not paying attention to the meeting. I wouldn't suggest you do that. Also, another thing is don't try to overly be aggressive with your opinion at meetings. And this is where I've really seen some gaijin really go horribly wrong in their jobs and even lose their jobs because of this situation. I know in America we have meetings to try and possibly progress business practices further, see ways we can be more efficient, and possibly figure out ways we can better satisfy a customer, or if you're in teaching, ways that we can better teach the students. That's not really always necessarily the point of the meetings that we have here in Japan. And if that's definitely not the focus, then it's not the time to bring up anything that you feel needs to be changed. Sometimes, and this is probably going to happen at every school you go to, they'll have a meeting every year about influenza. Influenza. I can't tell you how many influenza meetings I had to go to back when I worked in teaching. It's like you would think the whole country is dying of influenza. Well, anyway, they really freak out about a whole school contracting influenza. And I have had some where so many kids didn't show up to school, like they actually closed the school for the day. So I make fun of it now, but perhaps it really is a valid reason for a meeting every year. But you'll have something like that. You'll also have the occasional safety meeting. Usually these safety meetings concern any kind of problem that's come up recently in the school. Maybe if there was like a close call where a kid almost got hit on a bike, or there was somebody weird looking at the kids when they were walking home, because yes, this kind of stuff does happen, sadly. Then they're going to go ahead and have a safety meeting and talk about how can we make the kids' trip home safer. Take that stuff seriously, and again, remember, it's not the time to bring up your own opinion. Is there ever really a time to bring up your own opinion? I would say the only time I would really try to be somewhat aggressive, and by somewhat aggressive I mean in the most subtle ways possible. If you had seen Hiko Simon's video on how to argue in Japanese, I would suggest you take a look at that for how to get your opinion across, even if you're doing it in English. Oh god, here comes one of these stupid electronic pickup trucks. This guy's thing isn't even working right. It's like falling apart. Look at this garbage. Go away. Go away, idiot. And that's the only time that you're going to try and get your opinion across, is if you're actually brought into a meeting that someone actually asks for it and says, you know, we've heard you got some great ideas. How would you like to improve the school? There is some Japanese owners of companies and schools here, especially that ones that have a lot of Western influence, like an international school or internationally based company, or even like some of the clients I work for who do international art products or international publications. And they understand that you can be a little more aggressive with your opinion. They know and expect that Gaijin will be like this, but I wouldn't assume that they know that. Make sure you get to really know their personality if you think you can do this. Don't just rush into a meeting and just bullhead your total strong opinion in there, or you will shut the meeting down. And you will find things get awkward quick. You will find that you come off the record. You will find your opinion completely and utterly crushed. So I highly suggest you don't do that. I have seen, like I said, there have been incidents before where sadly I went to meetings and I saw some gaijin try to be extremely aggressive. One was a situation where this guy was a history teacher at an international school I worked at. This was years and years and years ago. And he was a good teacher, he really was. He was a hard worker. He showed up on time, did his job. I can't fault him on that. He was a good guy as far as his job was concerned. But he had been waiting for a globe for his classroom, a globe like, you know, like a map for his classroom for over 6 months. And he was really angry because he was having a lot of trouble teaching without the reference of the globe, which, you know, as a history and a topography teacher, I think I could understand. A geography teacher, you know. Okay, that would make sense. If I had a classroom where I was teaching art and I didn't have pencils, I'd be a little pissed off. So he was really getting pissed about this. He had asked for it so many times. And in his defense, he really did. He put in so many memos and so many letters to the owner, and they had just never done anything about it. And it wasn't like a poor school. This school owner was rich beyond belief. She owned like half the town that we were teaching in. And he finally, at this meeting, thought, all right, the only way I'm going to get my point across is if I flip out. Then they will have to go ahead and get this globe. And that's what he did. He flipped out. He's like, I want my globe. You know, I've been asking for this for 5 months. And he went nuts. He was going crazy. And it was to a point that another one of the Gaijin managers of the school that he worked at finally said, hey, you need to calm down, just chill out. And, you know, he finally did, but the damage had been done, unfortunately. And not even later than the next day, he was out of a job. The owner of the school let him stay for like 30 days or something after that and work, but he was out of a job. Like, that was it. He was gone because he had caused so much turmoil in that meeting. He had really like frightened everybody. You know, he was just trying to get a point across, but you really don't get that explosive in a meeting here in Japan. And he had become so explosive that the Japanese people at the meeting actually said they felt like literally scared, which you know, for them it's understandable because that kind of attitude just isn't brought to a business atmosphere. For you, you might think, well, dude, he was just trying to get his point across. Well, he was, you're right. And if it was me or you from a Western country with the kind of aggressive attitude in business, you would just think like, oh, okay, this guy's just pissed. But for them, it was like almost horrifying, okay? So it's something you really got to be careful about. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and close this video to an end. I'm going to say I'll see you next time. This is JFAQ. I'm Unrested. If you have any questions about anything you heard today, as always, write.